Hello everyone, welcome to another, or I should say, the first second edition Should I Fly It video. So in this series, for those of you who are new to it, I go through some list ideas, what I've been thinking about, and maybe something I've flown, something that seems interesting to me, or just a wacky concept that I feel like it could be fun. And I try and present it, and then go over maybe little bits of tips on how I would use it, how I see it being flown, and then maybe some tips, especially if it's a more popular archetype, but how to fly against it as well. Some of them are going to be more in-depth, going into like deployments and stuff like that, having maps and things. Others are just going to be straight up list rundowns. And this one is going to be slightly different to both of those, in that it's going to show the evolution of a list from using it in the second edition format, and maybe something I'd try and do in extended. So straight into it, we're going to be looking at Boba Fett and Fang. So this is a list that I've been toying around with recently. I've played it probably 10 or 12 games now, a couple of kit events and some practice games for our upcoming Battle of Alberta tournament that we have. And the concept behind this was I wanted to just start second edition, really bare bones, and I used to fly an 8-tie swarm in first edition for a similar reason, just find an efficient platform, build on it, and get used to a game, stuff like that. So I really wanted to fly a medium base ship because it didn't exist in first edition, and Boba Fett is a bit buffed, we'll say, because it's the same as it was in 1.0, but it's now 2.0, so he didn't get nerfed, albeit he's better, and I wanted to put Slave 1 onto him because that basically makes him Imperial Boba Fett and Scum Boba Fett of old, all rolled into one nice package. And then it costs 85 points, still pretty cheap. Then I originally had the idea of running it with 2 Skull Squadron pilots, having quite a meaty initiative bid with initiative 5s and 2 initiative 4s. But then I worked out, like, through not being as terrible at math as I was previously, that I can actually fit in Fang and a Zealous recruit. So whilst I get the deviation from 2 initiative 4s, I get Fang at initiative 6 with his ability. So the Fang's a really efficient platform as it is, especially if you actually start triggering Concordia. Multiple evade tokens if you're getting shot multiple times. It's actually a really good title, especially when you stack it with that focus token as well. So it works very simply, the concept of this list. If you read the cards, all of them talk about being at range 1 or like 0 to 1. So you push it forwards and then it does what it does. The games that I've played it and it's been really successful, it is just a case of ram it into someone, and if you can actually just outdice them, you're getting rerolls on Boba Fett at range 1, so he's doing damage and has consistent defensive buffs. Fang has defensive and offensive buffs in the extra dice, rolling 5 dice attacks at range 1, 4 dice agility at range 1, and you're also triggering Concordia, so he's pretty tanky and can put out a massive punch. And a Zealot recruit is the pilot skill 1, so awesome blocker, and whilst it's at range 1 is triggering Concordia face off, so it becomes really annoying to deal with. Your opponents are going to be putting in more effort than they would like to deal with it, and if they don't, you can position it and control the table with it quite well, especially as you're going to have a big medium base of Bubba in range 1 and Fang zooming through the fight. So using this guy to control some space, you've got Bubba blocking off of us, and then your opponent's maneuvers start to become really predictable, and you can kind of react with the Slave 1 title to if they take the bait on your block or if you try and fire past it, so you do get a good amount of options. Things I've found that this list struggles with has been anything that has had proton bombs have been pretty troublesome with having no shields on Fang and the Zealot. If they go down too quickly due to crits or proton bombs, anything like that, it can leave Bubba with an uphill battle. Bubba's more than capable, but he is pretty slimmed down. It's not like the Marauder Han Solo Bubba where you can get double mods and like, extra defense and all this kind of stuff. It does rely on like making sure you're controlling the range and getting your actions. So it struggled against that, and then I've struggled to pin down Gurry with this list since my opponent I've been playing against has boosted his first player bid to 5 points to take over the 3-point bid I had, and yeah, Mark's been pretty good at dodging Bubba, and when I have been rolling dice, I've just not been pushing the damage through. So if you get out-aced, I feel like that can be a problem for it, especially like Bubba still has those flanks that can suffer. Alpha strike lists haven't been too much of a problem just because of the amount of range control you can use with the boosting. You can be as aggressive as you like and kind of control that range pretty well. But yeah, it's kind of it's really easy to use, and if you just push it towards people, you will win games. Then as you get more experience with it, there's lots of scope for making changes, and that's why I talk about this as a 2nd edition list. All of the upgrades in it, well, the one upgrade in it, and all the cards are from the 2.0 format. Sorry about that. So it does drop into that format. If you want to look at extended, you start to get a lot more cards added in, so there's more combos, more tricks. So one of the things I'm going to be trying out tonight as a slight change is dropping the Zealot Recruit into a Jakku Gunrunner, and then that opens it up a little bit more. So I've still got Fenro with no upgrades at all, just because I think it's a really efficient platform. And once you look at stuff like fearlessness or elusiveness, one adding offense, one adding defense could be good. I don't know that it actually outperforms having the bid instead to try and make sure you can position him last. Against supernatural aces, I feel like that's kind of more important, but we'll see. Boba Fett gains 000 and a hull upgrade. 000 is just an amazing card. Adding stress control or double stacking Falcons, either option is bad for your opponent, and you want to be in range 0 to 1. He functions exactly the same as Bubba. Lots of synergy in what we're trying to do here. So you're going to be at range 1 of your opponent. You pick someone you can shoot at who's going to be shooting you. They get a stress, or that you get a calculate, and that decision, there's no bad option for you. Both of them are going to be good. The hull upgrade takes him to 11 hits, so you'll notice the health threshold for gaining the 47 half-point mark, it goes up to 6. So it's I don't think it's going to make him live exponentially longer, but if it denies half points for an extra round, that's helpful. Then the Jakku Gunrunner replacing the Zealot Recruit. This guy is going to go down quicker in spite of having the extra health. But I don't know. I don't know for sure. I've not put it on a table enough to actually play around with it yet. But I feel like if I can get him in position, tractor beam control is going to be pretty strong. Having Tobias Beckett's going to be interesting for actually opening up lanes for Bubba and Fenn to rush down, or closing down lanes. I've been doing a lot of dropping the really old school place the biggest rock in the center of your opponent's deployment and just keep doing that. But now having Tobias means you can do some, you can block off your own area and then move that rock somewhere else to open it up before the game starts. And I think there's a lot of interesting ways of using it. I don't want to go too deep on tricks. It's going to be very situational. I'll probably play some games and try and get some photographs and do a completely separate video on how I'm using this 2-point card and why I think it adds value. Because this is a very, not really controversial, but it's very divisive on how useful people think this card actually is. And then Deadman Switch is a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of card for it, because I want this guy to be at range 1, getting his tractor beam off, and then I want them to think twice about killing him because of the splash damage. Initially, instead of Tobias, I had what's it called? The Baffle, which causes 1 damage to remove a red token, but I thought Tobias would be more interesting. I mean, you've still got points. If you wanted a 5-point bid, you can still throw that on as well. But again, because it's designed to die, I don't want it to be too expensive. At 16-point half points and 32 points if it's entirely dead. Should go pretty well. Like I said, a 7-point bid. Overall, the list loses a lot of speed with the Gunrunner being in there. The dial is a lot less effective than the Fangs, but I feel like adding in the extra tricks on Boba, some tracked beam control, and then just a little bit more fun to fly. You have more decision points, makes it inherently more fun. So we'll see. I'm going to try this out tonight for a couple of games and see how that goes. I'll report back, and maybe I might start up the this week in Hating Dice series again, but basically there'll be some feedback maybe on the podcast, I don't know. But yeah, there's 2 lists. I'll make sure there is some link to them somewhere, so you can try them out yourself. The first one is not exactly difficult. Boba Fett with Slave 1, Fenrow and Zealot Recruit. You don't really need a lot of cards to write that one down. And like I say, it's a pretty strong list. Put some reps in with it, let me know what you think. And then the second one is Boba Fett, Slave 1, 000, Hull Upgrade, Fenrow, Jakku Gunrunner with Deadman Switch, and Tobias Beckett. And that one gives you a 7-point bid, which I think's more than healthy in the current meta. I don't feel like you're wasting points at that level. And yeah, let me know what you guys think, if you're going to give it a try, if you've flown something similar, and yeah, just report back, put some links in the comments to your lists, what you've been thinking about, how you've done with it, and if you enjoy these videos and this restarting of this series, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one.